Hey, Big D back with you with a little World Cup 2022 USA versus Wales recap before. Tell you about this game, but please subscribe, like, and share the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page where you can see all my videos and streams. Hopefully, I've got at least one, if not multiple podcasts, and I'll not only be hosting but be guest of this Thanksgiving week. Also, speaking of podcasts, check out the Big D podcast for your audio listeners on Spotify and Apple. So, for your U.S. men's national team fans today, the U.S. and Wales started their 2022 World Cup openers against each other tonight, and that was one of the most physical World Cup openers I've seen in a long time. It looked more like a rugby game than a World Cup match, but U.S. and Wales ended up in a 1-1 draw, so both teams got a point tonight. And coming into this game, there were questions. Both teams were ending long World Cup droughts. I mean, the U.S. had missed the last World Cup in Russia, and Wales hadn't been there since 1958. In fact, I think I heard one. The last team to score against Wales was Brazil with a certain Pele on that team. Not bad. He did all right. But this was a game of two contrasting halves. I mean, coming into it, I thought the U.S. would have a lot of the ball, but Wales would try and counter and beat the U.S. on the break, especially with Bale and Daniel James. And didn't work that well for Wales at the beginning, but worked better later. The U.S. started the game really, really well. Well, before the opening goal, it looked like the U.S. threat got a lot of breaks. Robinson, Pulisic, especially way down the right side, making plays. And then Josh Soldier, nice hold-up play. Then Pulisic finding Timothy Weah, who scored past Welsh keeper Wayne Hennessy, put the U.S. up 1-0. It was a dominant first half for the Americans, dominated the ball. I mean, deservedly in front at halftime. And in fact, looking back on it, part of me wishes that the U.S. scored a couple goals because a 1-0 lead's never safe. And then knowing with Wales, it would have just brought on Kiefer Moore at halftime, and who made a big difference. It seemed like Kiefer Moore, not just his big frame, but a different mentality. Wales pushed forward, really caused problems. Finally broke through later when Walker Zimmerman found Gareth Bale in the box, and then of course Bale scores, so it's 1-1. But to me, the scoreline is about right. I mean, it seems like a draw is fair. I mean, the U.S. dominated the first half, Wales dominated the second half. But a couple interesting storylines from this game. One, I know the World Cup's about stars, and generally superstars supposed to carry their teams. And Walt Pulisic claimed that one been a majesty with the Weah goal. I didn't think he played that well. His crosses seemed a bit off tonight. It seemed like Pulisic was really frustrated. I don't think the referee was great either, especially his inconsistency, or maybe more so, inconsistency calling or not calling yellow cards. It seemed like Pulisic was brought to hit the pitch like 8-10 times throughout the game, and never just didn't seem like himself. It seemed like, especially in the second half, a few of the U.S. players fell off a little bit. Now, coming into this game, I knew there were a few U.S. players dealing with injuries. Serginho Dest, Weston McKennie, Musa, Timothy Weah. Pulisic hadn't played that much for Chelsea this year. It's been a more more of a spot player, not really starting or playing much. So even fitness concerns were going to happen for him, despite Pulisic being Captain America. And for Wales, I mean, Gareth Bale's didn't really play that much for LAFC. He just scored the win in the MLS Cup final a couple weeks ago. But Bale really wanted to save his energy for this World Cup, and this game just from the opening whistle, it felt more like a heavyweight prize fight, like both sides going at it, cards, a lot of aggressiveness, a lot of energy, and by the second half, seemed like everybody was screaming, like guys were hurting, guys were fatigued. It wasn't the warmest night for a World Cup, even in a warm place like Qatar, but both teams were feeling it, and I mean, it just the final score might have been 1-1, but to be honest, as an American fan, I'm disappointed. I mean, U.S. led 1-0 for so long, and you're so close to getting the 3 points because the U.S. plays England on Friday, and the U.S. could have done with getting 3 points tonight because now they're in both Wales and the U.S. have 1 point each. The Welsh play Iran on Friday while the U.S. and England entertain their fans. So the fact that the U.S. will play arguably the best team in this group will make things hard. I mean, it's a very difficult game for the U.S. to get anything out of. And then you've got to beat Iran. And while Iran looked pretty pedestrian against England, it'll be, maybe not be a bigger game in terms of talent on the pitch, but more off the pitch based on what's happening with each country right now. But I'm disappointed with the U.S. because you lead so long and don't win the game. And then B, I don't know what Greg Berhalter is doing. I mean, we still don't know what happened with Gio Reyna, but some of his subs didn't make a whole lot of sense. Now, true, a couple of his subs were pretty much enforced because Weston McKennie and Sergio Dest couldn't play 90 minutes because coming back from leg injuries. But late in the game, he brought on Jordan Morris for Wales. Jordan Morris, who's dealt with 2 torn ACLs, over a guy who's not just playing, but starting and scoring goals, making plays for Borussia Dortmund in the German Bundesliga, which is probably the second or third best league in the world behind the English Premier League. And Giovanni Reina didn't see the pitch tonight. And I know everybody's saying, well, he'll use him on Friday against England. Well, if the U.S. can't win tonight and the U.S. can't win on Friday, it might not matter how much you beat Iran because if the U.S. can't get anything tonight and or on Friday, the U.S. might as well just go home. I'm like, why would Berhalter pick Gio Reyna if he's not going to use him tonight? Now, I mean, if he's sick, if he's dealing with a little niggle, that's one thing. But I didn't hear one person say Gio Reyna is unavailable. I fully expect him to play, if not start tonight, but it's befuddling to me that Reyna never saw the pitch. It's befuddling that he's free to score goals for FC Dallas in Major League Soccer, never saw the pitch. But in the end, 1 point, I mean, the U.S. World Cup's not over, but 3 points makes me feel a whole lot better than 1, especially when the U.S. will play the 3 Lions on Friday. I mean, in terms of best players for Wales, I mean, Bale wasn't great throughout the game, but at this stage of his career, Bale's looked for 1 or 2 moments. Great draw on the penalty from Zimmerman, then hitting the penalty. It looked like the halftime change to Keeper will really confuse the U.S. It looked like the U.S. never adjusted to Keeper Moore's 6'5" frame on the pitch. So He made a big difference. It looked like. And for the U.S. tonight, well, way of school to go. I think Tyler Adams and probably Anthony Robinson were the two best players on the pitch. Tyler Adams is so underrated. He never gets the stardom or the headlines like Pulisic or other players, but he does so much in the 30 work, eliminates so many attacks from happening, and does so in the right way where he never gets a card. He he is what you want in a defensive midfield. That's why Tyler Adams is wearing the armband, because he's a leader and can help the U.S. get something from every game. And I don't think, to be honest, the U.S. would have lost the game if Tyler Adams had not played, but the U.S. got at least salvaged something from this team, despite blowing a 1-0 lead. Again, another key with this team, like for every other team, remember, this World Cup's being held in November. It's not the traditional June, July World Cup. So fitness is going to be a big issue, not just because of the heat of Qatar, but a lot of these players might not have played 90 minutes, particularly at this kind of intensity. Des is coming back. Des, McKinney, Musa, and Way are all coming back from injuries. Pulisic hasn't been used to this kind to playing 90 minutes on a game in, game out basis for Chelsea this year. Matt Turner isn't even starting for Arsenal, leading the Premier League right now. So this is a very young team, but to me, I don't blame the players necessarily. I blame the manager, Greg Berhalter, because I think he made a couple errors, particularly in who he brought on and who he didn't use. I think he could have used Freya, and I for sure think he could have used Gio tonight. But, it's first game of the World Cup, and draws at the end, 1 point. And hopefully the U.S. gets something against England, because whoever gets something against England could very well advance, and whoever doesn't might be adios. So the U.S. and England play on Black Friday, 2 o'clock. I'll be watching all around the world. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.